how do you feel about the U.S. economy in your own personal opinion? Like,
Mm.
do you think that because we're at the top of everything as far as prices when it comes to NASDAQ, S&P 500, everything is at an all-time high, Bitcoin. Do you think that we're due for a pullback, a recession, or we're just going to keep going up?
I think we're in this position right now, and it's really been for the last decade plus, maybe 20 years, where there is no moral hazard, right? Anytime we get into economic choppiness, anytime we get into stock market choppiness, what happens? We get bailed out in some way, shape, or form. But who gets the benefit of the bailout? Asset holders, stockholders, property owners, right? We have a K-shaped economy where if you own stocks, if you own your home, if you own a business, if you own real estate, you're doing fine. And anytime it looks like we're on shaky ground, guess what? Somebody floors interest rates, makes money cheap again. They dump money over in the economy like helicopter money. That bails out businesses. Sometimes that can be very beneficial. We needed it during the early days of the pandemic, but we never worry about what happens on the other side of that. And I don't know if we ever will, especially with this administration, because they're going to do whatever they can to keep this economy humming, or at least the headline numbers humming and the stock market humming. Nobody likes to brag more about the performance of the stock market than the incoming president, even though presidents don't have a lot to do with the performance of the stock market. I think they're going to not let anything happen that would feel like bad headlines for several months in a row. They got to, the first 2 years are about delivering on the promise. The next 2 years are going to be about trying to get somebody back in office from that party. So I don't feel like we're going to see the top. Now, I want to also eat a little bit of crow. Last year, we did the same thing. You asked me what I thought my expectations were going to be for the stock market for 2024. And I said, good years follow great years. It's rare to have a great year follow a great year. I was wrong. And I wasn't the only one. Every Wall Street strategist, and I'm not one of them, was wrong. Every one of them had to raise their targets on the S&P 500 because the relentless bid took everything higher, and about 10 profitable, ultra profitable companies that became trillion, $2 trillion, $3 trillion market cap companies just lifted everything up. So I was wrong. We had a great year after a great year. 3 in a row would be unbelievable, but anything's possible these days. So I'm not going to make a prediction on the market, but I am going to stay invested. I'm going to stay long, and I'm going to keep buying what I think are the best companies and the best ETFs out there because I got a long time to go before I stop investing.
We're almost halfway through this decade, which is crazy how time flies. What's your biggest lesson that you've learned or relearned in this half decade?
Yeah. I don't know as much as I think I do, and I got to keep learning, but I also know that I can't time anything. Timing the market is dangerous. My time in the market is super valuable. Ask anybody that looked at their portfolio in June of this year, and that's been invested in the stock market and looked at it now. They can't believe the returns, and that's what's happened to me time in and time out. Stay invested. I do rebalance, right? I do reallocate when I feel like the economic winds are shifting. I do those things, and I've been exposing myself to riskier and riskier assets, but not more than 5% of my portfolio. I have been right in doing that, and it hasn't taken me any genius thinking to do it. I just kept persistently investing and not doubting the fact that eventually things were going to keep returning to the mean, and they did twice as good as that. So I'm going to stay involved, stay in it, but also realize that anything can happen and prepare for the unforeseen, but don't pull out of the market because I think we're headed towards something that's, I haven't seen before.